So Krishna, congratulations on scoring a 720 and welcome to this
Thank
debrief.
you, Rajat. Thank you.
And again, I know we talked earlier and you mentioned this is just doing this debrief is something that you've been wanting to do since you joined e-GMAT, and it's been a fairly long journey so far. So I'm glad that we are able to have this conversation.
Yeah.
So it's been a long journey for you, Krishna. I mean, you've taken the GMAT 4 times. You've gone from a 680 to a 600 to basically now back to a 720. So and your verbal score specifically, I see is fluctuated quite a bit. So tell me, let's just focus on your last attempt, in which you improved your verbal score from a V27 to a V37. What changed?
Yeah. Basically changed my entire strategy on how to attack numbers. From the moment I take the e-GMAT course, I have a complete picture of what to do and how to proceed. Earlier, I was just blatantly attempting all the sections and I'm putting effort equally on all the sections. But after taking e-GMAT course, I came to know what my weak point is and how can I improve it. Also, using your table, I calculated that the dream score that I want to achieve is 720. I am constantly on Q50 most of the times. So I judge how much on verbal score should I have to achieve to get to 720. It set around V37 to V38. So I set my target score at V39. And I started preparing sentence correction, critical reasoning, and reading comprehension. Earlier, I don't have that much concept on sentence correction, but after reading e-GMAT course, I have that very full confidence. I went from the jump that I got from V27 to V37. The most of the jump came to me in the sentence correction. Earlier, I was around 40% in V27. My sentence correction is around 40%, but in my V37, it's 94%.
Wow!
I think I have just gone only on one question in sentence correction. I got almost everything right. That's the level of confidence I got after studying e-GMAT course. And on my critical reasoning strategy, critical reasoning used to be my strongest point till before I started e-GMAT. I used to be constantly on some 80%, some 5% level. So basically, I pushed it to around some 78% level by studying e-GMAT course. And another jump that I got from e-GMAT course is my reading comprehension. In my second attempt, I got V24, and the most disappointing factor to me is my reading comprehension score was around 19%, 19. It was very disheartening for me. I don't know how to approach the reading comprehension. I used to spend very few minutes on the passage and I used to spend more time on the questions. But at the completion of the passage, I got almost half of the questions wrong and I used to spend for more than 13 to 14 minutes for a 4-question passage.
Wow.
That's my drawback. I don't know how to approach that reading comprehension. But after reading your strategy, I completely changed my approach to reading comprehension. I used to spend around more than 4 to 5 minutes reading the passage and less than 1 minute attempting the question.
Wow.
With this new approach, I got almost more than 75 to 80% questions right within less than around 7 to 8 minutes for a 4-question passage. And these kind of approaches has helped me to achieve the gem. Also, previously, I don't know how to approach during my exams. I used to start with the question. If I got it correct, I will jump to another question. I used to spend long periods of time to getting it correct. And after that, I used to go to another question. But after reading many testimonials and many videos of e-GMAT, I prepared my complete approach. I decided that I will spend the first 20 minutes on the first 10 questions and the next 20 minutes on the next 10 questions. By that time, I passed the 20 questions. I think the system will have adjusted the questions to my levels so that I can answer them in a much easy manner and a much faster pace. So I spent the last 16 questions for the last 25 minutes for the last 16 questions.
Okay.
And these complete strategies helped me to achieve the jump that I was very much required for me.
Okay, that's very well summarized, by the way. That's good. So starting with the attitude, you said, okay, V27, I have to get to V39, and that was your target. So you had that attitude that you wanted to get there, and then you went on section by section, and starting from a 40 percentile in SC to a 90 odd percentile eventually. Then critical reasoning, you improved slightly. You're already pretty good, and then reading comprehension also, you had a big jump. So let's kind of talk about sentence correction and reading comprehension. So in sentence correction, how did your approach change from when it was when you were at 40 percentile to, you know, when you eventually went to a 97 percentile?
Yeah. Initially, I don't have that much of any strategy or approach to sentence correction.
Okay.
I used to basically, I initially read some very different odd materials on sentence correction, and they give me some type of formulas like checking the first line of the sentence and last line of the sentence, and just seeing which one of the given sentences A, B, C, D that will fit into the underlying portion.
Okay.
But after reading sentence correction, I used to spend more time on reading the question. Okay, what this question is about, and what this question is trying to convey to me. After spending more time on the question, I think I used to spend more than 45 to 50 seconds in studying the question. After
Okay.
studying the question, I can easily answer the correct answer within around 30 to 40 seconds. So I usually spend around 1.5 minutes in answering the question.
Okay. Okay.
And also after I got the V37, I checked my ESR report, in which I got almost a 90% correct on the meaning-based questions.
Wow. So communication basically.
Yeah, communication. Yeah, communication-based questions.
Yes. Okay. All right. That is good. I mean, the fact that you spend time on it shows on the results. Yes.
Yeah.
So how did you also use Coloranium when?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes, Coloranium was my favorite part. Yeah, initially I know about myself. I was a little bit slow learner. So after buying new material, I spent at least 1 month on studying each of these topics. After studying each of the topics, I was able to answer the questions rightly, but I was not able to answer them within the right time. So I used Coloranium to practice for the timing part.
Okay.
So I basically followed in which I would go correct. First, I learned the concept. Second, I was practicing to get the correct answers for the questions. And after that, my core strategy is to practice the timing part.
Okay. All right.
And the timing part also, the sentence correction helped me a lot. Most of my sentence correction questions, I got them correct within 1 minute 20 seconds to 1 minute 30 seconds, so that I can spend the balance time on RC and CR.
That sounds wonderful. Okay, then now let's go to reading comprehension. So you mentioned earlier you wouldn't read the passage. So what was your strategy when you were at 19 percentile in reading comprehension?
Yeah, at that time, yeah, one of my friend just told me the strategy that you should focus more on the questions.
Okay.
So at that time, I basically don't have any kind of strategy on how to approach RC. I practiced more than 100 to 150 RCs, but at the end, I don't even have a specific strategy. So when I learned your approach, e-GMAT approach to RC.
So just to really just quantify what you said. So you practice 100 reading comprehensions and you would spend a majority of the time just on the questions and not on reading the passage.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's where I was missing the whole concept. That's why I am getting almost less than 50% of the questions correct.
Okay.
Because I was not able to comprehend enough what is being conveyed in the passage.
Okay.
But after changing my approach and after spending more than 4 minutes in comprehending the passage, I get most of the gist of it.
Okay.
RC also used to be my toughest part. If anything that comes on social sciences or humanities, I think it would take me more than 10 minutes to answer a 4-question passage. Because it would be difficult for me to comprehend those concepts.
Okay. Okay. And then when you started spending time, what happened?
Yeah, when I started spending, initially it used to be difficult for me because After spending 4 to 5 minutes on comprehending the passage, I will have less than 3 minutes to answer the four questions.
Mm-hmm.
So initially, the time that I required to answer the passage was around 10 minutes. But
Mm-hmm.
after practicing some 15-20 passages, it gradually got down. And by that moment, I was able to take the exam. I was able to answer in less than 7 minutes for a four-question passage.
Okay. So one other thing that I want to kind of ask, Krishna, and this is, and again, the reason why I'm asking this question is it's so a lot of people talk about the initial and the final, and then yes, those are good, but I think what matters to success is the journey between the initial and the final approach, and that's kind of where the key to success is. So when you had this initial approach, and whether it's intense correction or reading comprehension, let's kind of just talk about reading comprehension, and you basically would not read the passage into that kind of depth, and then you would go directly to the questions. When you were marking a question in that case, what was the feeling in your mind or in your heart? And then how did that feeling change when you changed the approach?
Initially, I don't have that much confidence on why I am going for that answer. But after I changed my strategy, I was more confident on why I am picking only the option, only that option. Why not other options, and why only that option? I'm very much confident that I was picking the correct answer.
Okay.
That
And
was the confidence
that is the key. So when you're not sure, other options, when you're even marking an option, other options seem decent too. But when you're certain, you are very certain to really say, okay, I know these other options are wrong, and this looks good to me, and here are the reasons. And that's kind of progress overall. Okay. So you also use Scholaranium for reading comprehension. I see that you've attempted 200 odd questions in Scholaranium as well. Okay. All right. That is good. So let's talk about now your post GMAT. You've applied to school. You have you have acceptance from May and Mays and Eli Broad, and full fellowship at Eli Broad, and 70% scholarship, and you're still waiting to hear from WP Carey.
Yeah.
And if you get into WP Carey, it'll be a full tuition, because essentially that's what they offer to everyone. So that'll be really good too. And you want to go into supply chain. That's something that you've been doing overall. So that's there. So we talked initially, and you said, my concern really with so you like Mays because better placements, the location is more central. You see companies that come over there, they do seem to offer H-1B visas, and so your framework for doing this is, I think, perfect. And so if you were concerned, anyone is concerned about H-1B visas, the thing that I would really say is look at the stats as to which companies offer H-1B visas, and USCIS gives you that stats today. So they'll tell you, and the two biggest sectors for H-1B visas are consulting and tech.
Yeah, consulting and tech.
So, and within tech and within consulting, they'll tell you how many visas were offered to which were kind of contested for by which all companies. And the nice thing about B school graduates is that I don't know if you've heard of a lot of this ruckus about H-1B visas being so the applications being inspected and rejected overall. I don't know if you've heard about that. You have, right? So one thing that those stats don't tell you is, yes, a lot of the applications by Infosys and TCS have been rejected. In fact, the rejection rates can be as high, or Satyam, as high as 50%. At the same time, the rejection rates for B school students, the companies that have B school students, they are actually at the most 2%. So for Microsoft, for Dell, for McKinsey, for Bain and other guys, the rejection rates are 1% or 1.5% at the most. So 98% of all the applications get accepted.
Wow.
Yeah. So and again, it's the difference over here is 70 to 80% of all the applications that TCS and Satyam put in, they put in with an average salary of about $62,000. And USCIS says, hey, if you're talking about a skill that is in short supply, why would you pay the guy $62,000?
Okay, that's a good question.
It makes sense, right? Where the median income in an American household is 47, 48K. Why would you pay someone 62 for a skill that is supposedly in short supply? Whereas when you pay that person $100,000, it just makes sense that the skill is truly in short supply because you're paying twice the median income in the country. So, I think your thought process over there is correct. That Texas A&M is a much better choice for you from a placement standpoint. So that's kind of one way to evaluate, and that's a very valid way to evaluate. The other piece that you should look at is the kind of learning that you would get, and learning has many subcomponents. One is essentially the professors and the kind of research they're doing, and if that's something that you're interested in. The second is the kind of departments or research centers that they have. Usually professors' research tie with the research center, so one's good, the other one would, the other thing would be there. The other piece is the breakup of the class, and essentially the breakup of the courses, where the kind of flexibility that courses allow for you to learn things. I think so. One is, the first aspect was placement. The second aspect was learning. I would rate schools on learning as well, because learning is really important. You know, that's something hopefully that you're going for. So I think that's kind of how I would evaluate either of the schools overall. Another piece which is there is where would you like to live post your MBA? I mean, if you want to live in the States, Michigan's a really cold place. Whereas I think Texas, especially northern Texas, is a comparatively much nicer place to live in.
Warm place.
Yeah, it's a relatively warmer place, although it does get cold in winters. But compared to Michigan, it's nothing. And so I think the community over there is a bit more vibrant as well. And at the same time, the cost of living isn't crazy. It's not California, so I think from that standpoint, Texas wins, in my opinion. Unless and until you love cold, which so which many people in India don't. But yes, I think that those are the three criterias. Now, regarding your concern, as we talked earlier about the fact that you have 70% scholarship, so you will have to spend some money. I think it's a blessing in some ways, because in two ways. One is because you're paying some money for it, you're going to try and get the most bang out of it. To really say, hey, I'm paying my hard-earned money, so I'm going to learn the most.
Give me some force that will drive me.
Yes. I mean, when you invest in something, it's always a driver, and so that part I would really say would be very useful. The second piece is, because you will have spent some money, I would recommend that you do a lot of semi-paid internships in the second year.
Okay.
So not just the internship which you do between the first and second year, but even after that, in second year you have enough time to continue to do internships. Okay. So I mean, I did that as a part of one of my courses, and that's where the flexibility is there. So I took a total of about 3.5 credits of internship in my second year that allowed me to earn a significant amount of money. So I mean, I think I made about $45,000-$50,000 if you include my 3-month internship and then all the internships that I did after that during my second year.
Wow.
So the nice thing is, it's not just the money, but it's also the fact that once I graduated, my resume, 20% of that was what I did before my MBA. 60% of it was all these internships. And then when you go for a job, it makes those discussions in the interview a lot more interesting. Because when you'd go for a job, there'll be few people who'd be interested in what you did with BHEL, versus there'll be a lot more people, if you've done interesting internships, they'll be interested in what you've done over there. So in many regards, I think this is good. That's kind of what I would say. If you think the placements are good at A&M, and then which you've already verified, and you know, location's good, it's not super expensive to live there. So
Thank you, Rajat. Thank you for your opinion and your insights. I will definitely look into this.
yeah,
I explored the content part, but I haven't looked much into the learning part. What are the type of learning opportunities? That part I will also explore.
yeah. So I think it's placements, learning, cost of living.
Yeah.
Three things. I mean, California, for example, placements are excellent. Learning is good in most colleges, really good. Cost of living is terrible. I mean, you might graduate from a Berkeley house, but you know you'd still be living in a two room apartment, and you'd be paying a ton for that. And you may make 130 grand, 140 grand, but you won't be saving a whole lot. On the other hand, if you are someone who's graduated from WP Carey in Arizona, within probably a year, you'd be buying your house. You may be getting 100 grand or 90 grand, but you'll be buying your house within a year. If if you're thinking longer term, or if you're living in an apartment, you'd be living in a 2 to 3 bedroom apartment by yourself. So that cost of living makes a huge difference. Okay. So that's something that I would also want you to look at. So anything else, Krishna?
No, that's all the thing, Rajat. I
Okay.
got all the insights. I basically was looking for what are insights that I should look into while evaluating these two colleges, and I got those insights.
Well, I'm glad I could help, and you know, good luck for WP Carry. I hope you get in there as well. And I don't know if you've spoken with folks at Mays to really say, hey, I'm looking for slightly more scholarship, and what they've
Yeah,
said.
that part I have also sent out my mail to admissions director, and they said that they will get back to me by this week.
Okay, have talked to them. I would say set up a call.
Okay.
And really say, hey, these are the other things that I bring to college. And frankly, you know, that is a lot more impactful.
Okay.
And really say, hey, I'm willing to do some work while in first year, and I'm willing to help some professors do things. And
Okay.
these are the skills. I mean, you're someone who brings a Q50. You have stuff in stats. You probably know stuff in stats and other things. And really say, hey, this will really mean a lot, and it'll add to my experience as well. I think it's a win-win in some regards.
Okay. I will also try that.
Yes, so because it truly is.
Okay.
So yeah.